welcome our another guest of today's Q&A at the festival Etiuda&Anima. So the guest is, of course, Schwizgebel, director of the film Darwin's Notebook. So very good to have you here, although in an online form, and I'm very happy to talk with you about your film, about your animation. And I have, of course, a few questions related to it. So maybe let's start. So your film, Darwin's Notebook, is, in a nutshell, a bitter story related to the kidnapping of three natives of Tierra del Fuego by the British, and their meeting with the young Charles Darwin himself in 1833 during return trip to their homeland. Can you tell us a brief story of why did you decide to make this story, of what was your first inspiration?
It was when I visited an exhibition about Charles Darwin, and the person in charge of this exhibition introduced me to this story, and I was very surprised and interesting because the captain of this boat, he drew also the figure of these three native, and so I have enough documentation to make something animated film about this subject.
Mm-hmm. So that was like the beginning, yes, that you saw this exhibition and you decided that, yes, I want to make a film about it. So what was the work on the script? Whether did you rely on any archives, any historical sources? How did you manage to make it?
Yes, in fact, I don't made very fast this film. I wait a few years, and when I start, my idea was a little bit naive because I think these people come in a beautiful country, go to London, it's raining every day, and of course, when they come back to that country, it was better. But when I talk about my subject, some people help me and say, "Oh, you must read this book about that." And slowly I changed completely my storyboard, my script, and I become more close than the reality. And it was very different because this country, it's very raining more than London. It's very cold, and it's not easy to live in this country. But they was naked, and because it's raining every day, but even it is very cold weather, they survive and they know how to live in this place. So when they come back to their country, they forgot about cup of tea and everything about English, and very fast they become like before. And when the boat, the Beagles, with this captain and of course Charles Darwin, go back to this country, they don't recognize this native because he was against thing with painting, and they was very surprised. So quickly they come back to their own habitude.
Mm-hmm. So, like, if you can sum it up, like the whole work on the script and on the film, on the collecting the whole information. So, how long did it take, like, in all, to create the film?
Maybe about more than 3 years, because of COVID, I must wait a long time to have the music, and although of course I changed my script several times, but to make a film, animated film, I spent 2 or 3 years to make a 6, 7 minutes or 9 minutes like that. It takes time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's time consuming for sure. So my another question would be, connected with the animation itself. So we observe in your story a series of long shots of dynamic transitions between individual scenes, retrospectives, the story of creation of the world, the Adam and Eve's expulsion from paradise. So what techniques and what aesthetical assumptions did you follow while working on this film, and why?
I use acrylic painting on cello. It's old-fashioned. I don't use computer. But for that film, I want, at the beginning, somebody tell me it's better maybe to have a dialogue. I never use dialogue in my film, and I hesitate, and then I decide to tell the story without dialogue, and find some visual idea to go from one sequence to another sequence without dialogue and without cut. But I use cut in that film for the beginning, at the end, when we arrive in this country. But for when the narrative talk about their story in black and white, is a big sequence, no cut, like in almost of my film.
Okay,
And
thank you very much. That's very interesting.
And I also use black and white for everything come from England, and color from the native country.
Great, that's fascinating actually. And you mentioned earlier the music, and also I want to ask you about it. So the music was composed by Judith Gruber-Stitzer, and is a perfect example of how sound and image can complement each other, can blend together, can create a single world built from a palette of visual and sound aspects. So what was this creative collaboration like about the music? Can you tell us something about it?
Yes, because I worked with Judith Gruber-Stitzer several times. It was the third times, and I like very much. In my film, maybe half of my film, I use existing music, but in that film, I want to tell a story. It's better to have a music. She made the music when the image was finished, and I was very happy with this music. It was perfect, because I am not musician. I cannot explain exactly what I want, but she understands the story. The music helped me a lot.
So the music was specially made and specially composed to fit
Yes,
your film. Yeah, that's great. So maybe another question. Efforts. So nowadays, also continuous problem of indigenous people and government-backed oil companies, for example, laying pipelines where this could threaten the water and food resources for survival of local tribes. And this is, of course, horrible. But do you think that art actually can make a significant contribution to the fight for the rights and dignity for those tribes around the world? Do you think that art can actually manifest and help in those cases?
I hope so, because it's actually problem. It was a problem of acculturation and colonialism, and even the colonialism disappear. The same, the rich country use the poor country, exploit the poor country. Look, I think it's the same problem. Even it was in two century before.
Okay, I agree with you that it definitely can manifest something. And maybe my last question will be completely different one. You are an established and recognizable animation artist, and everybody can agree with that, of course. But what does George Schwizgebel do when he's not working on another animation?
What I don't understand. I make animate a film and then another one. I was very happy, lucky to can made what I want and get money to make film, short film.
So one film after another film. That is what
Yes, yes.
what is taking the time. So what are you planning to do next? Of course, you're planning some next projects. Yes, can you maybe tell us a bit of the secrets? What will it be about?
Yes, it will be completely different. It will be about painting. Quite a short film, and I already have the music, but I just start the film. Is maybe it will be finishing next end of the next year.
Okay, looking forward
With
to it. Looking. So thank you very much for sharing all those inspiring answers, and thank you very much for the Q&A. And yeah, thank you very much, and I hope to see you somewhere in the future again. Maybe this time in real life, let's say.
Maybe. Thank you for your interview.
Thank you
And
very much.
luck for your festival. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.